please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Now I want to go on some of the tweets that I've bookmarked. Let's see. Alright, so why did I put this here? What is this? Oh yeah, I kept this here. So it says, so ITV profits went down to 93%. Wow, they are depending on I am a celebrity, get me out of here to save them. Just heard it on Radio 5 Live. Alright, so this person must be in England. I think, I'm just guessing. Alright, so here, let's see the comment. Imagine decreasing 93. Wow, 93. Every time I say 93, it's so huge. It's almost close to 100. Oh my God. 93% in profit. First people to go, if I was in charge, would be Royal Waters. So, I think it's Royal Waters. Sorry, but that role is a waste of money. Alright, so let's see if there's more reply. Lord, I love the memes. ITV deserved to lose 97%. It's piss more on not making them money. Okay, so people, well, thinking about this now, because I don't live in the UK, because and I've seen comments like this. Sorry, I'm jumping from different thought process out loud, but each time I say something else come up. So there's other comments I've read on other places where Brits themselves said that it's the media that making it seem so bad, but the people themselves, the real people who don't have the mic, pretty much are in a line with Prince Harry. So I have to, not to blame all British about what's going on or what we are hearing, because a lot of Brits, occasionally they say things on social media saying, no, it's not all Brits that like that. It's just the media. So I have to put that out there. All right, so what else? Yeah, I saw this is about Corona, people, the traveling thing. So there was another thing I wanted to cover. Okay. Oh, this thread is very, very interesting. I saw it very late last night. I believe this guy, Brian Cathcart. Okay, I think I've seen him on CNN. I don't follow him, but I think I've seen him. I think he's a journalist. Let's see. Oh, the face that I'm seeing here, could it be him? That's not the face that I was thinking of. Oh, I confuse him with I've seen him on CNN. Not him, not Brian Cathcart. It's someone else. I think he had worked for the government, and occasionally he will be, I don't remember his name, that person that I'm thinking of, with Rachel Maddow regarding legal issues with the presidency. So this is not him, the one that I was thinking about. But since I'm here, let me just read who he actually is. Brian, I think they call it pronounced Cathcart, is an Irish-born journalist, academic, and media campaigner based in the United Kingdom. Oh, that's interesting. I thought when I read that tweet of him yesterday, I thought he was American. Okay, wow. He is professor of journalism at Kingston University, London, and in 2011 was a founder of Hacked Off, which campaigns for a free and accountable press. Okay, so he's 63 years old. He's from Ireland. Education, Trinity College, Dublin. Okay. Wow, I'm glad I checked it, because I thought he was an American, and the person that I was thinking of, it's not him. Okay. So his tweet yesterday is a long thread. Maybe I should have done this first, but it's very interesting. It pretty much point out what's actually going on, and he's not blind about it. So let me go on to it and read it. A general warning on this day of Harry and Meghan fuss. Take everything you read that comes from the UK national press with a pinch of salt. They are not impartial or honest observers in this. They are determined to break this royal marriage to a woman of color. Okay, so that was I think he posted it 5:54 a.m. January 9th, 2020. So he got the message. He saw what was going on. So he tweeted about it. So here he goes on. It's a long thread. Not too long, but enough. So he goes on to say, okay, we are told that the couple refuses to accept legitimate scrutiny, but what they have faced has not been legitimate. It has been a sustained campaign of vilification, routinely rely on innuendo and falsehood, and often laced with racism. So he got that. Okay? He went on to say, we are also led to believe that rough stuff from the UK press is only to be expected, and it's part of the royal job to accept it. Don't believe it. Real journalism isn't about dishing out rough stuff. It's about truth and fairness no journalist anywhere should be asserting. That is right on point. Okay? So, yeah, it seems that's the way they're going about it. The journalists in the United Kingdom, like it seems like they are okay. It's okay for them to say anything about anybody, and then you are supposed to expect it. And this is why Harry and Meghan decided not to take any funding from the taxpayer and said, look, I want my life. I don't need your money. Just leave me alone. But yet they keep at it. So this is what I'm getting from that part of his thread. That the royal couple have to put up with journalism that is untrue and unfair. No individual, royal or otherwise, should ever have to do that. Journalists should be taking some responsibility for the abuses that have happened. So as I'm reading this part of the thread, I'm thinking, if Meghan wins her court battle, the royal better thank her for what probably will be a help from that. Because if Meghan wins, I believe the journalists have to stop doing some of the things that they are doing to the royals, all of them in general. And my fear is, as I'm saying this, is the kids who are growing up right now in the royal family. None of them, especially William and Kate's kids, none of them deserve any harsh criticism. But when they get older, we'll see how whatever they are teaching them now is flourished to be. Then, once they hit the legal age, we'll see what the fruit of their labors have produced. So if you don't teach them well while they're young, especially William, he's experienced very bad things since his mom passed away. So he should, teach his kids to do the right thing. At least I know Harry and Meghan will be doing that with Archie. And it's when you have kids, when you teach them whether positive thing, it's not always guaranteed you will have a good adult child. All right? You just never know. You could spend years teaching your kids to do the right thing, and someone come along and just flip that switch, and then all your hard work just went to waste. However, the main thing is to focus. Your part as a parent is to do the right thing, teach your kids to do the right thing. At the end, the child decided to do something else, you should not blame yourself. You should say, I try my best. And that's the way I'm going with my kids right now. I'm trying my best. And once they hit the adult age, they will be on their own. Their decision is theirs to make. And little at a time, I tell them, look, I'm teaching you to do the right thing. If you get in trouble or something, you do something that I didn't teach you, don't expect me to come and rescue you. You should know from right from wrong. But anyway, that went a little bit off. Alright, so Brian Cathcart, Cathcart, I believe they pronounce his last name, continues with his tweet. Instead, we are encouraged to think that a bad press for this couple or for anybody else is like the British weather. Something you have to shrug and put up with. It is not. It's a man-made, the deliberate policy of individuals working for corrupt newspapers organization. As I read this, I'm thinking, I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe I'll check this in a few. I believe the owners of those British newspapers are from another country. Is it Australia? I'm not 100% sure, but I think they are from Australia. So you have people from other countries who's pretty much coming in your country and doing all this negative stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they get some tax break too, those newspapers. So I don't know. They really put the British people to sleep to sort of ignore all of this stuff. Anyway, okay, Brian, continue. Now we are watching a concerted effort by those organizations to kill off any remaining public sympathy for this vilified royal couple. And their torrent of words, they are creating a new normal in which the prince becomes the Duke of Windsor, led astray by a grasping wife. Wow, something came to mind and I lost it. Okay, now we are watching a concerted effort by those organizations. Yeah, so he's pretty much saying that, look, they want the people to hate, Harry and Meghan. But that's their loss. That's their loss, the British people. That's because now the whole world have them. Okay. Or alternatively, he is in La La Land with no grasp of the financial realities of his own position or of the world. If these views were placed in context, they might constitute legitimate opinion, but surprise, the context of sustained, dishonest press abuse is always omitted. Alright, so I hope the court see the proof of what it is. I believe when I talk about, it was 2 or 3 days ago, where the judgment about Meghan's friend's name was upheld with the court. I hope the judge focused mainly on the evidence of the court, not things on social media. It seems like, I even mentioned it on the video, it seems like the judge is going through social media and reading stuff. So usually in the United States, when they have jurors, where they call regular citizens to come and be part of a case, and their opinion, their vote of whether the person is guilty or not, they usually tell them not to read the newspaper or watch the news. They want them to focus only on things that they see and heard in court. And if one of the example of this is what's his name? He was convicted, and what's his name? My God, he's one of Trump's buddies who was convicted, and one of the jurors said, she voted for Trump, but when she was in court and the full evidence, she couldn't pass the evidence and find the guy guilty. So she went on TV talking about it after the case was over.
Let's pull back the curtain on that Manafort trial tonight. Our Fox News at Night exclusive inside the jury deliberations. Joining me now live in studio, one of the jurors, Paula Duncan. Paula, welcome. Okay, how close, I want to know, did this jury come to convicting Paul Manafort on all 18 counts?
By one. There was one holdout.
So you all agreed on the 8 counts. The 10 others, there was one person who kept you from making that next step.
That's correct, yes.
What was their reasoning, if they shared with you?
Reasonable doubt. We all tried to convince her to look at the paper trail. We laid it out in front of her again and again, and she still said that she had a reasonable doubt. And that's the way the jury worked.
He kept your names under seal because he was worried about threats to you as jurors. So why are you speaking out?
I don't feel a threat. I am an American. I'm a citizen. I feel I did my civic duty. I don't think I need to hide behind anything. I'm not afraid at all, and I thought that the public, America, needed to know how close this was and that the evidence was overwhelming. I did not want Paul Manafort to be guilty, but he was, and no one's above the law. So it was our obligation to look through all of the evidence, and there were four paper boxes full of paper to look through. Most of us, when they gave us the box, it was listed what was in each folder. Each folder had a number. When you looked at your notes and looked at what witnesses were connected to which charge, it was pretty easy to connect the dots. So most of us had no problem with that. Got out all those documents, put them in front of her, and she changed her vote to guilty again. But the one holdout would not.
Was not moving, even after the instructions from the judge where he sent you back and said, keep talking about it, I want you to give this another try. That wasn't enough to move the one. Okay, so you said you wanted Manafort to be innocent. Why?
Because even his critics said he was a brilliant man at what he did. And why wouldn't Trump want him to help with the campaign?
But you are a President Trump supporter.
I am, very much so.
So what did you think about the charges being brought against Manafort? Did you think, you said going in you wanted to think that he was innocent. Did you think they were legitimate on the front end versus what you ultimately decided on the back end?
Well, the charges were legitimate, but the prosecution tried to make the case about the Russian collusion right from the beginning, and of course the judge shut them down on that.
The president's name come up in jury deliberations. Was this politicized in any way?
It was, just because in the evidence there were references to Trump and to his son-in-law and to the Trump campaign, especially with the Steve Kalk and the pay-to-play issue. So yeah, it did come up.
Did you feel like there were jurors who were either, like yourself, pro-President Trump or anti, and that influenced their reasoning in any way?
No, I don't. I think we all went in there like we were supposed to and assumed that Mr. Manafort was innocent. We did due diligence, we applied the evidence, our notes, the witnesses, and we came up with the guilty verdicts on the 8 counts.
Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they did a good enough job to convince you on several of these.
The paper
trail.
Yes.
Okay, because there were overwhelming amounts of documents, and I know that the judge at many times was trying to limit pictures and testimony about expensive items and all kinds of things, but certainly he left in the documents that he felt were the relevant ones you all needed.
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about the Manafort team and the decision for Mr. Manafort himself not to testify. Did that influence you at all?
It did. I understand why they didn't do it. I mean, we're supposed to assume he's innocent, and therefore he does not need to defend himself. And the judge made that very clear, that there is no requirement for him to do so. However, just based on what I saw, what I heard, I think I would have liked to have heard a little more from the defense. They gave a very easygoing atmosphere to the whole thing. They objected to very little and appeared agreeable throughout it all. Their crosses were even very short when they cross-examined the witnesses. So I don't know. I think I expected a little more.
Okay.
Some of us had a problem with accepting his testimony because he took the plea. Mm-hmm. And so we agreed to throw out his testimony and look at the paperwork, which his name was all over.
Did you find him to be credible?
No, I think he would have done anything that he could to preserve himself. That's just obvious in the fact that he flipped on Manafort.
Okay, so a key witness, but he wasn't the thing that turned it for you. What about Cindy Laporta, the tax preparer, the bookkeeper, who also was testifying under immunity? How critical was she to you all?
Some of us thought she was a good witness. Others did not. I believed her. I think she felt very contrite about her involvement in that. I understand why she did it, but that didn't make it right. I think she was key to me because we saw the false documents, but now we know how they got there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about Judge Ellis himself? A lot of folks have thought he was quite a character throughout this process.
He's amazing.
Was he equally tough on both sides? Do you think he was fair?
I think he would have been equally tough on both sides had the defense been up there more. Mm-hmm. I think he appeared tougher to the prosecution simply because the prosecution was the people up there the most.
So how hard was it to stay away from everything you're supposed to stay away from during the trial and not talk to other jurors until you're really in deliberations?
The hard part was not talking about the case to the jurors because we spent a lot of time just waiting in a small room. And so, you know, I tried to lead people like, what's your favorite food? And because we played those games, I can tell you that the youngest, including the alternates, was in her mid-20s. The oldest on our jury was 69, so average age in the mid-50s. One person drove 108 miles round trip every day to do this. That's a lot of driving.
But anyway, we are also constantly reminded that they are privileged and they owe us something. And it's true, but it's the taxpayers who confer the privilege, not the Mail, Sun, Time, or Telegraph. They owe nothing to those papers and they can communicate to the public without their help. And remember, this guy, Brian, his tweet was somewhere in January. And now we are in what, August? And there it is. What he just said just prove it. And you could see some of the things that the Sussexes, Harry and Meghan, are doing. It's just through social media. The squads just take off with whatever it is that they're doing, and the message is spread. They don't need the newspaper. Okay, there is a special inequity about the way journalists with no dog in this fight and broadcast, for example, simply parrot the line of the corporate press. The fundamental problem to be tackled here in reality is not the prince or his wife. It is a hateful, dishonest press. Wow, I'm glad he put this out. Okay, here is just one small example of their dishonesty at work. So this is from byline.com. Okay, Meghan in the car park, anatomy of royal news story. Newspaper publish falsehood because there is nothing to stop them. And this example shows that that's no accident.